We'll go first to this serious health alert in Sydney. Live pictures we're bringing you here are showing this blanket of smoke that is lingering over the harbour city. They are extraordinary pictures, quite eerie there coming through from our news helicopter at the moment. You can see just the top of the CBD there on the top of the picture, poking through this thick layer that is now sitting right over the top of the city. Now, this comes as a new danger looms for much of New South Wales. The threat also growing across Queensland on the bushfire front. 70 fires still burning there and catastrophic conditions about to hit South Australia.
It looks like we're in Delhi or in Beijing. It's just like there.
It's like something
insane.
out of a movie at the moment. Really sort of spooky feel to that smoke that is just sitting right across the city there and definitely giving no sign of going away.
The cause of this thick blanket of smoke that's choking our skyline is the Gospers Mountain Fire, which is burning in the Hawkesbury area. It's among dozens of blazes that are burning across the state. That have torn through around 1 million hectares of bushland.
We've seen quite significant air quality issues associated with that smoke overnight, where we've had an inversion, what we call a cap on the atmosphere that's really trapped the air overnight and trapped that smoke that's come in from nearby fires, so that has really had impacts today.
Sydney is currently experiencing some very poor air quality conditions, lower than the national standard. So people who have heart conditions, respiratory problems or asthma are being warned not to do any vigorous exercise today and to stay indoors if possible.
For most people, it's going to affect things like their eyes and their throats. They shouldn't feel too much from this poor air quality, but particularly for those elderly, children and those with lung conditions like asthma or emphysema, the authorities are warning people to stay indoors and shut the windows and doors to really stay away from those smoky conditions.
The haze may be starting to clear, but experts say it will be back by Thursday with extra heat, high winds, dust and even dry lightning, only adding to the bushfire danger.
It looked like fog, but it smelled very different. The unmistakable stench of burning bush. Sydney woke to thick smoke drifting in from a giant fire northwest of the city. Spring's blue skies turned thick, smoky grey.
Yeah, it is. It's finding it hard to breathe.
Enough for many, like here in Parramatta, to wear protection. On the harbour, a cruise ship might have needed its foghorn. Hardly the picture postcard tourists were hoping for.
Yeah, it's been quite clear during the week and now it's quite thick.
Ambulance crews were kept busy, more than 50 call-outs just in Sydney, responding to those in distress or worried about what the smoke meant.
We've responded to calls of fire in an area where there isn't fire, it's just the wind's changed.
Sydney's air quality wasn't just bad, it was off the scale. An air quality index above 200 is considered hazardous. This morning, every Sydney region was way over. The city was 291, Tallora 1040, Parramatta was 1581, Prospect 2593 and Rouse Hill a whopping 2,974. That's almost 15 times beyond hazardous. And this is where the smoke haze is coming from, the huge bushfire in the Wollemi National Park, northwest of Sydney. It's out of control and expected to send more smoke across the city later this week.
Melbourne's recorded its hottest November day on record, and didn't it feel like it? 40.9 came after we tossed and turned through an uncomfortable night, bringing with it destructive winds, power outages, dust and grass fires.
Fire and heat are causing major problems right across the country this morning. Teams of volunteers in New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia and Victoria are either battling blazes already burning or preparing to hit the front lines as temperatures rise dramatically to heatwave conditions.
Firefighters telling us that any blaze that breaks out tomorrow will simply be uncontrollable, so residents are being warned to prepare now and to leave now if necessary too, and the CFS has issued another alert this morning to South Australians saying that anyone who has conducted a burn-off in recent days is urged to check that that burn-off is properly extinguished before those catastrophic conditions arrive tomorrow.
We go to air tonight. A state of emergency has been declared in New South Wales. A catastrophic warning in place with a fire danger the city has never seen. Across the state, close to 500 schools are shutting down, with the Fire Commissioner predicting lives will be lost if people are not prepared.
Firefighters are already exhausted, and as some caught up with lost sleep, there was no escaping the nightmare ahead.
Potentially could be the most dangerous bushfire week this nation has ever seen.
We are looking at catastrophic fire conditions.
South Danielle, the number of schools closing is continuing to rise.
It is, Pete, by the hour. We're now sitting at around 500 schools and TAFEs across New South Wales closed tomorrow. That's upwards of 100,000 students that won't be going to school, and their parents and carers possibly having to take the day off. But there's no complaining. Take a look at this. This dense bushland surrounds Janali Public School, and they know that if fire starts here, it will rip through and they might not be able to get students out.
For the first time, the threat level across Sydney was dialled up to catastrophic. By early afternoon, the dire predictions were starting to become a reality. A fire broke out at Landilo near Penrith. Fire crews were ready to pounce.
Very quick response, so yeah, like I said before, it's gone up real quick before, and yeah, they were on edge, so that was good.
Today was yet another dangerous day on the fire ground. Hot temperatures and wind stoking blazes which have burned for weeks.
It's to blame for Sydney's choking smoke. A huge blaze burning on the northwestern fringes. And while it caused Sydney-siders discomfort today, this afternoon the people around Koala Heights were once again under threat. With properties in the line of fire, water bombers were scrambling for residents on the ground. It's a torture they've had to bear for the past 3 weeks.
Very stressful. It's sort of the anxiety gets you. It's a long wait, and then all of a sudden it's flat chat. Now we're doing the wait again.
The Gospers mountain fire in the Hawkesbury region has been a constant threat every time temperatures spike and winds crank up, and this afternoon it was no different. There's no let up for crews on the mid-north coast. The emergency today at Long Flat, 50 kilometres west of Port Macquarie.
This is a second-by-second, house-by-house battle. This blaze has just flared up in the last couple of minutes or so. It's burning dangerously close to the Oxley Highway, and what crews are desperately trying to do here is to stop it right in its tracks. If it jumps, this is where people's homes are, lives, properties and livelihoods. These guys are stretched on the ground, but they're doing a pretty good job at the moment.
Heat records have tumbled and emergency services have been run off their feet as South Australia sweltered through an unprecedented November day. As we go to air tonight, the state remains under threat of a major bushfire. Blazes are currently burning at Yorktown and in the mid-north near Port Pirie, with residents in those areas warned to take shelter. They're among more than 40 fires that have broken out across SA.
One after the other, bushfires roared to life. Our catastrophic fire day coming to fruition. On the outskirts of Port Wakefield, a large fire front tore through grass and stubble at the site of a piggery and chicken shed. Just 30 kilometres away at Beaufort, another blaze that closed the highway. 50 firefighters on the ground and water bombers tackling it from above. Ferocious and unpredictable.
Starting to put out, but the wind's just taken it and she's gone off, and I've tried to follow it and put it out, but I got up over the hill and that's where I got bogged.
At Angaston in the Barossa, a blaze at a horse training facility, forcing the evacuation of staff from a nearby winery. The weather so dire, cars were forced off the road as winds whipped up dust storms at Cal.
We are in the midst of a bushfire crisis tonight, the likes of which this state has never seen. Right now, there are an unprecedented 17 fire fronts burning out of control at emergency level. The RFS believes people are trapped in their homes across multiple locations.
And then, 2 minutes later.
A mighty inferno.
We've been here for 50 years and this is the worst I've seen.
Every possible aircraft thrown into the fight. A Huey chopper, and off the coast the massive Ericsson heli-tanker sucking up seawater before shutting down the blaze. Every man, woman and family pet beating a hasty retreat.
The wind had changed and it was coming towards us, that it was time to get out.
The fire front in the Crowdy Bay National Park seems to go on forever. A huge blaze needing the biggest plane in the RFS arsenal. Close by, this was the view on the Pacific Highway, just south of the Taree Service Centre.
They've closed the road, we're crawling along.
And this was why. Fires burning west of the highway at Hillville. This homestead surrounded on all sides. And this was the view in the centre of the tourist town. A red haze descending on the outskirts. They are poised to run.
My missus has already got bags packed and she's left, so I'm just waiting and I'll take the dog.
Temperatures in the low to mid-30s, winds gusting up to 80 kilometres an hour. Port Macquarie is at the tip of a blowtorch.
You need to know, though, once a fire gets to an emergency alert level, we may not be able to get to help you. We haven't got the resources to be able to put into every single area, so you must be prepared to survive yourself.
Fires are churning through bone-dry bush. And the RFS is warning because of the winds, embers are being carried more than 6 kilometres ahead of the fire front, creating spot fires and a dangerous new challenge for the RFS. Same conditions at Woodford in the Blue Mountains. Howling winds pushing flames to the edge of properties. 200 firefighters from the RFS and Fire Rescue New South Wales are on the scene near Riches Avenue and Park and Valley Road.
That's right, Tom. We understand a number of firefighters have been injured while battling this blaze near Crow's Nest. Now, that is north of Toowoomba, around the Peachy area, which we now know that Peachy fire has tripled in size. Not only has it injured these firefighters, they are expected to make a full recovery, but also this fire could have claimed up to 5 homes. That's unconfirmed at this stage because it is in an inaccessible area, so our firefighters haven't been able to assess the damage, but we do know that the Crow's Nest State School has been shut for the day to try and keep students away from this fire threat. Right now, people in that area are being told they need to prepare to leave because conditions in the area are expected to remain very dangerous until at least Thursday.
Things are starting to warm up again, particularly through the middle of this week, so firefighting conditions will be remaining quite challenging through this week.
Not good news to those brave few still on the battlegrounds.
From there, Queensland authorities are also on high alert this morning with bushfires ravaging the state, choking the air with smoke and forcing plenty of residents from their homes. There is a fire burning on Moreton Island that's causing plenty of concern for fire crews, and there's another one at Peachy that has already destroyed several homes.
You can see that really thick, heavy smoke behind me, and it has been burning all day. So bad that they've just issued a leave now notice, and that has forced some 60 residents from an aged care and retirement facility to be evacuated this afternoon. We've also seen the local school shut down earlier today, and it will be closed again tomorrow.
Fire emergency, and blazes have broken out in the Greater Sydney region, with the city on alert for catastrophic conditions. At the peak of the emergency, there were 15 fires at emergency level. There are currently more than 70 fires burning. Half of them are out of control.
Late this afternoon, the kind of emergency that everyone was dreading.
Thankfully, I've got some awesome neighbours that were looking after the place, putting out a few spot fires.
Within a few minutes, they took hold, prompting emergency warnings. Residents were told it was too late to leave.
Well, it's just a big shock. It still is overwhelming. You don't think it's real.
From above, planes and helicopters lent support to firefighters on the ground who were forced to contend with difficult terrain. Almost everywhere you look in this street, you'll see houses and cars painted pink. The blaze got so close to homes, fire retardant had to be dropped from above.
The flames whipped up so quickly at Bora Ridge on the far north coast of New South Wales, there was nothing anyone could do to save this home.
I've been standing at the Boggy Creek Road there watching it burn. Really? Yeah, I went there yesterday and collected those things that are, treasured for any parent with their kids and stuff.
Further inland, a massive plume of smoke was a troubling sign for the people of Emmaville. Residents did what they could to prepare for the imminent danger.
I'm feeling pretty nervous actually, but yeah, I've got horses and ferrets and dogs, and I want to stay and protect the property as much as I can.
My house is burning down! What are you doing? Nothing! Get more money for it! All my friends are out there! My whole life is out there! Everything!
We're all in shock right now, and we just think it's tragic. It's virgin rainforest that just will never be the same again.
For communities still taking stock of the impact of these fires, there's little respite on the horizon.
The fire was fast and furious. The Hillville blaze south of Taree was back at emergency warning around lunchtime. It prompted some locals to leave. Within minutes, the fire front had spread.
This fire is moving extremely quickly. We've just spoken to one couple who have lost their house. They thought they were safe. They've now evacuated.
I've run 000 again.
Yeah.
Yes, someone's on their way, yep.
Those who had chosen to stay joined with firefighters to defend their properties. Others did their bit too, but some got out as quickly as they could.
We're at a stage now where we're going to go. It's more serious than I thought it was. The cars, well...
but life's more important.
Part insured, part not insured, but look, what can you do? I mean, just many, many years of restoration work, and hopefully it'll all turn out well. Mind you, I have prayed, and all my fingers have been crossed.
2 people dead, 70,000 animals dead, and almost 100 homes destroyed. The Pinery bushfire wrought devastation almost exactly 4 years ago, and Wednesday's conditions could be just as bad. If a fire starts, the CFS says it won't be able to stop it.
We don't take 7 catastrophic fire danger warnings lightly. That is as bad as it gets.
A huge air tanker used to battle the New South Wales fires is on standby to fly to SA. That's if gusty and changing wind conditions don't force the authorities to ground all firefighting aircraft.
The hot, dry, windy conditions will be followed by strong, possibly gale force west to southwesterly winds. So not only the strong winds ahead of the front, but the wind change itself is a particular danger if fires do start.
The areas at greatest risk include most of Eyre Peninsula, where fire crews are still patrolling a fire which burnt close to Port Lincoln last week.
This aerial video shows the scale of the fire that's now been burning for more than a week, nearly tripling in size since Sunday. Stephen Hart's home is one of those burned to the ground.
The intensity got so big that there was no way in the world anyone could have stopped it.
His mother's place is also gone.
There was areas as big as Mount Cootha, if not about 1.5 times the size of that, combusting instantly. So from overhead heat.
Some neighbours have been more fortunate.
We have a house left. Oops. My God, it's there.
More than 70 blazes are burning across Queensland. Massive eucalypts line the main road through this one, the only way in, alongside firefighters. And this is exactly why crews have had to close off the Escampton Road. Trees that have become widowmakers.
It's currently coming up from down on the bottom road. We can't fight it in there. We have the resources set up now. We're going into property protection.
It comes as new figures reveal 136 Queensland children have been charged with starting fires in the last 2 years, but only 18 have been convicted, most simply cautioned by police. Since a bushfire state of emergency was declared just a week and a half ago, 18 more people have been charged, 10 of those juveniles.
I think that these kids should be apologising to the victims. Maybe they should go and attend a fire unit.
That already occurs. It already happens right now in Queensland.
On Moreton Island, they're backburning, the smoke likely to lower a new haze over Brisbane, a small price to pay for protecting property.
As well as that, there's more. We've also got dust.
That's coming from the drought-affected west. Dry thunderstorms too, little rain, lots of lightning to possibly spark more fires.
Now that southerly change could have the unwanted effect of whipping up fires elsewhere in the state. There are 58 still burning tonight, 27 uncontained and 5 at watch and act level. That means anyone living in those areas needs to stay alert, listen to advice and be prepared to move quickly.
A flying ace drops help from above as the state burns below. This DC-10 water bomber from the US dropping 35,000 litres of flame retardant in just 8 seconds outside of Lithgow. To the north, menacing rings of fire, the latest battle for firefighters, already spread thin across the state.
Really mixed weather conditions today, mixed winds particularly, opposite sides of the compass, but really pressing fire grounds and challenging firefighters.
A looming threat, near certain to grow in the days ahead, lightning from thunderstorms, the new danger.
Unfortunately, those thunderstorms, with the lack of moisture in the air, we're not really expecting very much at all.
There are currently 51 active fire zones across the state, 23 of them uncontained, like this one at Koala Heights. But today, an offer of financial help from the state government to help with the aftermath, and they say it won't be the last.
Today, I'm pleased to announce on behalf of the New South Wales Government that we will be providing a fund of up to $25 million just to support the clean-up.
Since November 8, bushfires have destroyed 468 homes across the state and damaged a further 170, while fireys managed to save more than 2,000 homes. A further 78 facilities and nearly 1,300 outbuildings have been damaged or destroyed, fireys saving close to a further 2,400 of these. For firefighters across the state, anything but a beautiful day. Their efforts awe-inspiring to U2 frontman Bono, running into Victorian crews on their way up to assist.
And we know we're not next to people like you who really do the real stuff. We really appreciate it.
Well, Mark, the fire of most concern is roughly 80 kilometres west of here. It's known as the Kurrai East Fire, and it's burning in the Kurrai National Park. Mark, it's already burned through 100,000 hectares, and as we go to air tonight, it is listed as out of control. If the winds continue to pick up, the RFS says properties will come under threat, and residents need to stay alert and get ready to act.
Very, very dry conditions. Some of the worst as far as conditions I've seen since doing this for nearly over 25 years of firefighting.
Mark, this is the same fire that tore through the small town of Willawarrin last Friday. It destroyed 26 homes and it took the life of well-known local Barry Parsons. Mark?
Meanwhile, hot and windy weather is creating challenging conditions for firefighters across New South Wales. 2 blazes burning at watch and act level. Residents at Ebor, inland from Coffs Harbour, and at Gospers Mountain in the Hawkesbury are being urged to monitor conditions. 23 bushfires are burning out of control across the state. More than 577 homes have been destroyed in the last 2 weeks.
Is there any projections on when this fire could be out? Will it be weeks?
No. Pray for rain.
And the job was not just about saving properties. There was a heartbreaking moment as an injured koala emerged from the fire ground. The animal was quickly bundled up by a passing stranger, given water and taken to the local koala hospital.
There was no holding back the tears for Emily Smith. The agony of bringing her children back to what was their Boban family home.
It's alright. It's alright, Mum. I'm sorry, Mummy.
The property flattened and the metal still hot.
Just help.
I know.
This family won't forget Friday.
I lost my house.
Emily's son Jake and partner Nathan didn't know where she was when they came home to find their house on fire.
Last thing I heard was that she was at home.
So what were you thinking at that point?
She might have died.
Nathan and Jake didn't even know that I even got out. He's the best. What can you say? For a 14-year-old to stand here and fight a fire that he had no chance. No chance. Look at it.
It is a frightening situation. Let's go straight now to Nine's Grace Fitzgibbon, who is in Port Macquarie for us now. And Grace, 4 blazes are surrounding this town. Residents very much on high alert there.
Good evening, Deb. That's right. Right now I'm on the Point Drive just south of Port Macquarie. Have a look at these flames that are creeping through the bushland here and dangerously close to dozens of houses here. Take a look behind me at just all of the residents out on the street. They're watching on anxiously, hoping that none of these embers jump the road. The whole of Port Macquarie is on high alert tonight. There's 1 emergency blaze and 3 others out of control surrounding the town, and fears that they could tonight join. Deb, the firefighters on the ground here are telling me this situation is going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better.
These fires, they are so bad, they're creating their own extreme weather systems. Belinda's here with us now to tell us more. Belinda, just how much of a danger do these fires pose?
Yes, Deb, these fire-fuelled storms, they are called pyrocumulus clouds. They happen during extreme bushfires when intense heat and rapidly rising smoke head up into the atmosphere. The smoke absorbs moisture, cools, expands and creates that cloud. It can be unstable, generate severe wind gusts and even lightning strikes. The RFS warning tonight, these clouds are very dangerous. Don't be caught out in the open. And this is the view of the fires from space. You can see the huge amount of smoke heading out over the Tasman and towards New Zealand. More challenging conditions for fire crews tomorrow. I will have further details on that later, Deb.
It is just such an extraordinary situation, Belinda. Thank you. Kelly Fedor joins us now in the studio as well. Kelly, you've got live information on these fires burning out of control.
That's right, Deb. We've got a live feed of the map from Rural Fire Service showing us exactly where these fires are. The red icon represents emergency level, which means lives are at risk. Yellow is watch and act, which means that people need to start preparing to leave their homes in case conditions change. Right now, there are 17 fires burning at emergency level. The latest to be upgraded is at Coombs Gap Complex near Port Macquarie. The fire burning out of control south of the Oxley Highway is quickly spreading to the east, and I'll keep updating you throughout the bulletin.
Thank you, Kelly. It's an unfolding situation. We'll have more on the fires shortly.
The Channel 9 bushfire appeal has now raised more than $920,000 for those affected by the fires. If you'd like to donate, visit bushfireappeal.com.au, call 13 18 12 or visit any Vinnie's store.